welcome. I am Monica Mancuso, part of St. Mary Excel, and we've just been in the tween group to just bring communities and different entities together. And I know you didn't come to hear what I have to say, so we're going to get started so we can maximize what they have to say. Here to greet you are your parish leaders and town and municipal leaders, and Mr. Grizzaffi.
Thank you very much. I am Frank Grizzaffi, the mayor of Morgan City. We've talked about this now going on quite a while. This is a study that has a lot of people involved in it. A lot of money have been placed at the hands of this panel to give Morgan City, Berwick, the surrounding area, an opportunity to get a look in a different light and possibly forge us further ahead in the process of diversification, managing our assets, and doing some more land use stuff, and trying to figure out a different environment than just being concentrated on the oil field. Of course, most of the time it's Morgan City competing against Berwick, competing against Patterson. Now we stand here together. We stand here together as one in hopes that we can vitalize our entire area. So with that, we appreciate the big turnout today. We look forward to hearing the results just like everybody else. And I'd like to introduce the Mayor of Berwick, Louis Ratcliff.
Thank you, Mayor Grizzaffi. Today is an exciting time. You know, we've been planning this for months and years. I know the committee has. It's exciting. I'm really looking forward to hearing what the panel has to say to us and to help us to grow and to become even more together as Morgan City and Berwick. Thank y'all. And here's David, our Parish President.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Again, thank you everybody for coming out. It's a great turnout. I see people standing up in the back on this early Friday morning. I truly appreciate it. I want to acknowledge Councilman Paul Nalkan and Councilman Kevin Wazan. I don't know if there's any other parish councilmen in the audience today. This has been a long week. I'm looking forward to hearing this great panel and seeing what the ideas they have for St. Mary Parish and for Morgan City and Berwick, and what we can do to build upon that. So at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Lynch.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Aldrich Lynch. I'm here representing the Urban Land Institute, and we are here to discuss, as they so appropriately talked about, Morgan City, Berwick, and St. Mary as an opportunity that you have to go forward and build upon the assets that you have here in the community. First, let me talk about the Urban Land Institute. Excuse me. The mission of the Urban Land Institute is to provide leadership in the responsible use of land and in creating and sustaining thriving communities worldwide. We have 42,000 members throughout the world, international organization that represents the spectrum of real estate development, land use planning, and financial disciplines. We work both in the private and the public sector. So what does the Urban Land Institute do? And we say ULI for short. We conduct research, provide forums for sharing of best practices. We do a lot of publications to ensure that communities get some of the best knowledge out there. We also do a number of outreach programs. And in addition, we conduct advisory services panels, which is why we are here today. So the advisory services program has been around since 1947. We put on about 15 to 20 of them per year. In actuality, one of our staff members is leaving here and going to their very next one, so they don't even get a break. We provide, via these advisory services, we provide independent, objective, and candid advice. We appreciate all of the people that we spoke to because having that independent and unfiltered information allows us to do what we need to do. And so lastly, let me just kind of talk about the process. What we do prior to coming to any city is the ULI staff meets with the sponsors. They get a lot of background materials. They come in and do a visit. I believe the ULI staff had 2 visits prior to us coming. And then they, they provide that background information to us once they are able to assess the situation, and they pick out the selected panelists. So having a deep bench of 42,000 people around the world allows the panel that comes to be very focused and very directed to all of the issues at hand. Lastly, when we come into town, we do a lot of stakeholder interviews. We did those on Tuesday. We consider all of the data. We are very data-based. We are now here on Friday, so we've been here since Monday. For those of you who didn't know, we've been here since, some of us since Saturday, doing all of this, and now we're at Friday where we do our presentation. We will do a final report that will be produced in about 3 to 4 months. But as we leave today, with all of the slides that you see will be available on the ULI website as of probably Monday. We'd like to thank our sponsors. Here is a list, and it's pretty numerous. But what I would like to do is have special recognition for the St. Mary Excel folks. If you are part of that organization, can you please stand? We'd like to thank them for their leadership in helping bring all of the organizations. As you can see, there's a number of people who contributed here, both time and money. And then we'd also like to thank all of the people that we interviewed, not only here on Tuesday, but in background interviews prior to the panel coming. That was over 120 people. So we have a group of panelists here. We're international panelists, and I'm going to introduce myself as we do our presentation. Each individual panelist will present themselves as well. So as I mentioned before, my name is Aldrich Lynch. I'm out of Atlanta, Georgia. I have a background in architecture, construction, and development. And what I do for my clients is I help them understand where they're going, provide advice, strategy, and in addition, I help them execute on their projects. In addition, I'd just like to ask the ULI staff members just to raise their hands so you'll know who else is here. They did all of the logistics and did a lot of the background work for us, and we'd like to thank them as well. Once again, the panelists are from throughout the United States as well as Canada, and so you can see where we're all located. So we have an assignment from the sponsors. Our assignment basically broke down into 3 main areas. That is the diversification of business and industry. With the decline of the 2 largest economic engines to the area since the 1940s, there's a desperate need to really increase the diversification of businesses and industries. Also in the public-private partnerships realm, as with any other economic decline, you still really, in order to kind of build, to bring yourself back out, there needs to be a concerted effort where there's both public and private resources leveraged in order to kind of come out of that decline. And thirdly, there's infrastructure needs. The infrastructure in a community is more than just the roads and the bridges, but that's very important. But there's also a quality of life mentality that needs to come along, and so we're expecting to address those issues as well. Before we get into the presentation, I just want to let everybody know we'll have a question and answer period at the end, so if you could just hold your questions to that point. And like I mentioned, all of this will be available on ULI's website by Monday. So next on the study area, we specifically are looking at Morgan City and Berwick, but we all know that this is a very connected geographic area, and so therefore we also bring in a lot of the St. Mary Parish aspects into our study. Next, what we're showing you here is our key recommendations. So we're going to show you where we're going. We'll do our presentation, and then we'll come back and address those in more detail. I will tell you that these key recommendations cross about 5 different overarching themes. First, we believe you need to embrace who you are. Where you are geographically, who you are, your past, what really informs you and makes you unique. The second is you need to support the people and the businesses that are here. They're your lifeblood. You need to ensure that you stay connected with them and ensure that you support them as they continue to try and build themselves. Third, we want to talk about limited public resources. Everybody knows that resources are limited. You need to be very strategic in how you spend your limited resources, specifically the public resources that need to be able to benefit the whole broader community. And that brings me into the Hellenic site, as many of that are here have talked about. The Hellenic site is a great opportunity. We will get to some more details, but we do believe that the investment of the public infrastructure needs to be limited at this time given the current situation. And then lastly, there is a cost of doing nothing. And so we want to make sure that people recognize that there are costs of doing particular activities, but there's also costs associated with not doing anything. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our next portion of the presentation, and that will be Cliff.